for help. It can be a really hard thing to do because it summons up all of these fears that we have about incompetence, which is exactly what this letter writer was asking when he wrote, "Dear Sarah, it's hard to have administration in my classroom. How do you ask for help without sounding incompetent, sincerely asking for help?" You know, it's really hard to ask for help because this is one of those situations where we have told ourselves this story about the weakness that comes along with asking for help. And so what we really have to do is we have to change that narrative, right? We have to rewrite the story about what it means to ask for help. So here are a few ways to do that. The first thing that we can do is really think about how honest of a story we want to tell an administrator when he or she comes in our classroom. And I think this comes down to the difference between the word present and the word presence. So when we are so overwhelmed or concerned with the people who are present in the classroom, when we are paying attention to them, we lose our sense of presence with our students, which is what we're there for. So one of the first things that we can do, although it's really, really hard, is to try to either welcome those administrators right into the classroom, make them like part of the lesson so that it feels really authentic, or just try to not even pay attention to them being there. Either way, you get that presence with the kids, and that's where you're going to do your best work. The second thing is the idea that the greater the risk, the greater the reward. We already know it's not that difficult to ask for help about things that we have not attached ourselves to. So it's not so difficult to ask, how do I use that piece of technology? Where do I find that resource? Because those don't really have anything to do with us internally. Those are all external, but I think your question is really about the internal, right? Your question is really about, how do I ask for help to become a better teacher? How do I ask for help when it comes to the craft of teaching? And I know that one is a lot riskier, but the reward is so much greater. It does go back to how we frame it, right? It does go back to how we tell ourselves this story. So if you are using this time with your administrator to try to prove yourself, you are closing the door to this really wonderful opportunity. Here are some ways to frame some questions that I think could lead to one of these really growth-minded experiences with your administrator. What if it's something like, I really want to get better at this, but I don't know how. Or I'm open to change, but I need your help to see the first steps. Or even, I know this is a growth area for me, but I need your help to see what this looks like in practice. When we frame our conversations this way, when we ask these kinds of questions, we're not trying to prove ourselves and we're not looking for a quick answer. We're really starting a conversation, and that's how we get better together. As always, together with Teacher to Teacher, we take your questions via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and at my webpage, sarahbrownleslie.com, under the Ask Sarah tab.